This is how we shot this MiniDoc in 2 days.
It's all about being able to create lasting impact and being able to affect someone's life in a positive way.
Videos like this are awesome for brands because they serve a different purpose than the short form, quick cut, attention grabbing reels we see every day. These projects focus on an individual and their story, their experience, and how that correlates to a specific brand's values. The video is in no way focused on a specific product, but rather what the brand stands for. I reached out to my friend Colin to know if we could shoot a MiniDoc/artist profile on his creative workflow, his experience, his story. So the structure for this one was done in 3 different parts. We had the interview, the indoor B-roll, and then the outdoor B-roll. Technically, you would want to shoot the interview portion before, then shoot B-roll based on what the person said. But we also knew that the next day was our only chance to get the B-roll we needed outdoors with no rain. So then we went on a hike with Colin, captured his creative process as best we could, and just captured him in his environment. The next day is where we shot the interior B-roll of Colin working and the interview. Colin is very good on camera, so it kind of made my life easy to ask him the questions and to interview him. So we were able to get an awesome interview out of that. And then all that was left was the edit. Based on the questions we were asking Colin, I kind of had an idea in my mind of what question I wanted to put when. So I sifted through and cut his most interesting responses and kind of built the story from there. I've got a couple questions about the lighting setup for the interview we shot. So quick bonus for the people on YouTube here. This is how we did it. So we basically placed Colin where we would get the maximum amount of depth in the space. So we shot into the L of the room all the way back. So we got a lot of depth back there. And then essentially there was an overcast day outside, so that was perfect. I exposed for the sky not to be clipped. We had his blinds pulled down, but not completely shut. This was already here, good thing. So we had this kind of sheer to not make this part of the image too bright. And then I added one of Colin's lights, actually, an Amaran 200X with a small softbox into the other room. And I used the door frame to kind of cut the light from spilling onto the background. So it was kind of in another space, only hitting Colin and isolating him and not shooting on the background. So that's how we were able to get this nice light across his face here. Soft, similar to what we're seeing outside. So it kind of correlates, and then that light coming from this side is motivated by those windows. So you would just think there's another window there and that's what's lighting him. And then he had these really cool lamps in the back, tungsten colored lamps. So I brought a 1-foot light tube and I just had that sitting right on this little wooden table that you see here. The light tube is just sitting there shooting, and it's giving him this little edge. I'm just gonna zoom in here. It's giving him this little orange edge on the side of his face here. And you can see a bit on his jacket. So now, because Colin was backlit on the B cam, this lighting that you see here outlining him and his beanie is just straight up coming from these windows here and the actual light in the space. So that's awesome. So backlit was great. And then our light that's just out of frame here in the other room is simply shooting, matching kind of the levels on his face here to what we're seeing outside. So it's not too bright, it's well balanced. And then, like we mentioned, we don't see the lamps in here, but because we see them in the other shot, that light tube, we kind of see how it's the actual lamps are affecting the plants back here. And there's a little bit of a golden cast on the white wall there. So our little light tube is just actuating that. And to be fair, maybe this is a bit strong of a look for the orange on his face. Maybe you would want to have that light tube hidden like behind him, only doing an edge and not being as pronounced on his face. I don't mind it though, because it gives us a nice ratio of bright and then going a little bit into the dark here, and then having, the different color tones on both sides of his face. So I think that works quite well, and I was really satisfied with the look we got from the interview.